I'm from the
Same place as trap music, this that first react music. They can't hold me back, I'm feeling good cause I'm black music. Can't nobody touch.
Welcome everybody back on this wonderful Sunday to another episode of Cigar Sundays Live, where we define, examine, and analyze words, sayings, and phrases used in American culture. And tonight, y'all, we will be smoking on the word justice. So grab your thinking caps and get ready to smoke on words with two big nerds, myself, Chef Earl Pearl at DBCHEFTV, and the God, Ali Dawood L at BK Soul Farm.
Hey.
And we are the Cigarden Panel. Peace, God. How you feeling this evening?
Peace, God. Like always, man, I'm feeling pretty goddamn productive, right? Like I'm happy to have absolutely done the very best that I could today. I ain't gonna front. Like I do feel accomplished, right? And on a Sunday, like I think that's a blessing. Right,
Yes.
to feel accomplished throughout my whole week, to whether you end your week on a Sunday or start your week on a Sunday, either way, I feel accomplished today, right? So I'm feeling pretty good, God.
That's what's up. That's always good to hear. Feeling accomplished. I love that. I love that, God. Man, well, thankful as always for another day, God. Just to wake up. We know people been having some inclement weather all across the nation. So, just prayers and safety and love to everybody out there. Because it's cold, been getting like little power conservation notices and all this type of stuff going on. So just because where you are, it may not be as bad, it may be affecting, the weather may be affecting other people in other places, so just being thankful that we aren't as affected, and like you said, have been effective in accomplishing some things, personal goals, this whole week, and arriving at this point to continue another personal goal, which is for us to have a fantastic show this evening and kick it off first by honoring this show because it is Black History Month. It is the first day. So what we're going to do is, y'all, is every show that we do, we're going to honor somebody that needs to be honored, that deserves to be honored because it's Black History Month. And that's what we're going to do. So it's Black History Month, y'all. Let's celebrate Malcolm X.
Malcolm X.
Born Malcolm Little, later El Haj Malik El Shabazz, May 1925 through February 21st, 1965, where he was assassinated, was an African-American revolutionary and human rights activist. And, we want to honor him. And that's what this show is about. That's why he had to go first and foremost, because when Malcolm X was incarcerated, he said that one of the things that he realized was that he didn't understand the language that he was taught. So that is the sole motivation of mine from the inception of this concept of Cigar Sundays, because we need to have an open dialogue about the fact that we confused in our dialogue. and the only way to begin to narrow that and for us to all be on more of an equal communication level is to acknowledge it first and learn these words. So that's what we try to do here, define these words, sayings, meanings that we all use. We all colloquially use these things colloquially, and we all have instances where we have miscommunication, where we don't understand things, or wanting people to say what they mean or mean what they say, and there is no level ground. We don't agree on any place to meet, so we can have, a place to grow, a foundation. So shout out to Malcolm X, and all that he and his family and everybody, and all of those who look up to Malcolm X, revere Malcolm X, appreciate his work, his journeys, his efforts, his contributions to the civil rights movement, to activism, to his revolutionaryism, and all of his ism, man, all of his isms. So we definitely gonna go ahead tonight and talk about justice. I think it would be fitting. So we are smoking on the word justice. Let's go ahead and get to these questions. Our first question tonight is, what do you think of when you hear the word justice? Our second question tonight is, justice about punishment, accountability, healing, or all three? Three, do protests, movements, and activism actually lead to justice or just awareness? Fourth, is justice something that actually exists, or is it more of an individual ideal that we imagine? And then last but never least, fifth and final, is the word justice bad, good, or misunderstood? Y'all gonna have to stick around to the end of the show for us to let you know. But we also want y'all to let us know in the live chat or the comments below as we go through these questions. And remember, y'all, to smash that like button. And let's get into our first question of the evening. What do you think of when you hear the word justice? The God Ali Dawood El at BK Soul Farm.
Please, God, yo, I like how you did not ask, what does justice mean to you? Like that was, I like the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
I like.
No. No, we can't change it up now. That's our sauce right there. What you think of it, what you think
Right.
of when you hear it, so
So like,
it wouldn't be fair because
you know.
we know
So
everybody got a different meaning, but that's what they think, so it's the same question. People interpret it as that.
yeah, right. So when I hear justice, or when I hear the word justice, I really do think just us. Like I don't think that it's a thing that's real. Um, and mostly I think that it's all fantasy and it's just make believe because our society isn't fair, right? Like the foundation, like we don't really have a foundation that we all um uphold and adhere to, and you get the same punishments or the same consequences or the same anything in any city or state or county or any municipality, right? Across these United States, right? So you so for me, it like because there's no federal. I guess there's a federal. I don't know, man. Like I
We
just
do
I
have
just
the rule of law, and then they have
yeah, but it's
international law, and
but all that's interpreted, like all that's interpretable, and
it
that's my
is.
and
It
that's my
is.
problem, right? So because it's interpretable, you have to trust the interpreters, and you have to trust that they are not a part of this racist systematic system of oppression that is only meant to feed capitalism, right? And that's tough to think that somebody is not being paid to vote or rule one way versus another, or not being um lobbied, right? Like that's tough for me to think that those things aren't happening. So for me to think about justice, all I can think about is just us. And when I think about just us, I really think about it's just a fantasy because you know we are apart. We spread out, right? Like those of us that are connected are not close together enough that they can build something tangible so that those that are not together can say, hey, you know what? If we get together, we can be a part of that thing, or we can make it something bigger and stronger and actually get a foundation. It's like it's just really tough when everything is so me versus you. You know, we say things like friendly competition, and it's like there has to be some fairness, and it can't be fairness because we as an adult, we all know that life ain't fair, right? You know, we teach our children to play fair, we teach them about fairness, but as we get older, we accept, right? As adults, we accept that life is not fair, and we get in where we fit in, and we adjust, and we do what we need to. And that's why I say, man, justice is just us. It's- right? You know, we started with the good brother, the ancestor, right? Um, Malcolm X, and you spot on. Like the reason for this show is the God, right? Because so often, you know, we say words have meanings, you know, and people, you know, we say, you know, word is bond. We say all kind of things that in a fair society would actually mean something, right? Because there will be a foundation and consequences and standards that would naturally apply that you would just expect, right? And I feel like all that's a story that we tell to keep our children, make them do their homework and stuff like that. But in real life, I don't, I think it's just not real.
That justice is not real.
Justice is not real. You know,
Okay. So that's what you think of. We answering right now, y'all. If y'all just joining us, make sure to smash that like button. Um, the guy was just saying that it's not real. You said that you said a couple things. I went blank for a minute. You said something else.
nah, basically, like there's no foundation or standard, right? Like
No standard. Um, but it was the things that you think of like when you hear the word. So
just us,
just us. That's what I was looking at. The just
yeah.
us. The fake is just us.
and and
Um,
and just us is scary because every day people finding out that they friends are not really they friends. They more so they ops. So it's like, man, like who are the us?
yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So the when I think of the word justice, I think of a solution. So like how I look at the word justice is like this. When you were saying it's just us and how we spread out here and how it's difficult to interpret you know, friend or foe nowadays. It has gotten really difficult because words don't match actions. And when you become a person who values words matching actions and action matching words, it makes it very difficult, not impossible,
Not
but
impossible.
it makes it difficult to have value and trust. And when I look at justice, I look at it like the solution, the conclusion. I think of it, you know, when I hear it's like, okay, it's the end result. It has to be the,
Conclusion. I like that.
you know, like it has to be the end result. And I just look at like some of the things that we say colloquial, um, like that did some just, you know, them sayings. You know, we talk about words, sayings, and phrases used in American culture here. So, like, it brings me to that saying of like, you know, like yeah, that did some justice, and you can use it in so many different ways. Um, I've experienced it in so many different ways where a person will be like, you know, can I borrow some money? And you help them out. And they be like, you know, man, that did, I'm telling you, that did me justice, you know, like cause I ain't know I was gonna be able to, man, you know, can I stay by your crib for a couple of days or until I figure something, man, that just helped. That was justice. It was like a solution. Even though we see the way it's used in the court system, you know, I'm like, there still it still is some end. It still is some type of solution, some resolve, um, something. I don't know if it was necessarily fixed or not, if that's the right to apply to it, because I know things can be fixed and they can be permanent, but they can also be fixed to be variable, you know. Um, so I think of the solution, you know, I think of that's when I hear the word justice, that's what it makes me think of like, okay, it's about to be a conclusion, it's about to be a solution, it's about to be something that's going to be done. It's the ending. And I don't necessarily look at it like it's something you have to work for, but it's not something you should have to fight for. You know, because that's what I look at. I'm like, should we be
Shouldn't
fighting?
have to, right?
Yeah,
Shouldn't
like
have
you shouldn't have to fight for justice.
to. It
You
should
know,
just happen.
well, you should do the work. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, you got to do the work to get there because even somebody asking for you to borrow something, those examples I use, like if it was money, like then you would still have had to work to be able to have that money to be able to lend them, and then you still have to go and review your budget to make sure you're not taking food off your plate to help somebody to make
Correct.
somebody else's lack of be something that now you put yourself in lack, you know. um and then even with, you know, sharing your home or, you know, with whatever it may be, it's still like decisions and work and things that have to be done in order to get to this, to get that justice, you know. So I don't know, that's what I think of when I hear the word, and then I could be wrong, you know.
I like that, guy. Like, especially, I like two things you said. Conclusion, right? Like I like that, and I like the how it can be fixed or it can be variable, right? Because that just takes consideration, right? And as a mature adult, you just gotta have consideration. But what I also like was how colloquially, right, there is a foundation, right? The examples that you use, both parties was on the same page. So it's like, yo, that did me some justice. like everybody understood and everybody came from the same place, right? So the words worked and they fit,
Right.
right? So in that aspect of justice, yeah, that's real. I take that back, right?
You know, is it because people be like that? People like, you
Right?
know, like man, like you know, my tire busted on the side of the
A
road, and
100% facts,
you
right?
know,
And I guess, yeah, 100% facts, like colloquially, right? Because people do be on the same page down here, right, on the streets.
right? You know, and it's like, hey, like I had that spare. Lucky that spare did me some justice till I got to the place to get me a tire, or I rode that spare for like a month and a half. You know, till I got my bread right to get me a new tire. Something, you know, so it did me justice,
Now
right?
that's
So
some justice. Hell
you know,
yeah. Word.
so you know, so that's where I look at like that's that conclusion, a resolve, a solve, you know, something. But I mean, like the work had to be done. It's not like you just jump straight to justice and all problems are solved, you know. But that's what I think of it. God, let us know what y'all think of when you hear the word justice in the live comments or in the comments below. And what we're gonna go ahead and do now is, if y'all just join us, y'all make sure to smash that like button. We're gonna go ahead and bring up the definition of the word justice. So we got justice, y'all, and it is a noun. And justice is the process or result of using laws to fairly judge cases, redress wrongs, and punish crimes. Then we have B, judge. Then we have C, the administration of law. Then we have 2A, the quality of being just, impartial, or fair. Then we have 2B, the principle or ideal of fair treatment or right action. We have 2B2, conformity to this principle or ideal, righteousness. Also see poetic justice, poetic justice. And then we have 3, conformity to truth, fact, or reason, correctness. Before we go through the thesaurus, any of those you want to touch on, God?
Right away, I think the very first one, it says that it's a process, right? Or the result of using laws, right? Like so it says to fairly, right? There's that word, fairly judge
Fairly,
cases.
to fairly judge things.
Right? To me, that's could be interpretable, right? Because really it's really just a process. Everything else is, again, to judge. That's a process, right? So as long as you have a judge or you got to go see the judge, somebody can say that justice was served. Yeah, he can be a judge that can be, against you, but it don't matter. You had your day in court, right? It's just tricky. Like it's like it doesn't get until you get to the end, like the round three or two or three is when you start getting to the colloquial right and wrongs and I guess how we feel about one and two, right? Because look at that, that's like the administration of law. Like that's just the process, that's paperwork.
Right. And
You know what I'm saying?
all of that to me
Right.
is the legalese use of
Correct.
of justice, where if we pulled up a Black's Law Dictionary, we would probably see, 1A through C being there too.
Correct.
All right. And then here is where we probably want to focus at, because this is the use outside of the courts.
Correct.
And this being the use outside of the courts is where I think that a lot of all of the civil rights movements, all of the injustices, all of the things that we have seen through American history for human rights concerns and things like that, and just regular everyday human interaction, just social interaction. I think this is where we land at right here. I think what people are asking for is for those concerns to be addressed through the process of 1A through 1C.
Correct.
Because that's where the recourse.
Yeah, that's where it gets tricky at. Right.
Yeah.
Because you're 100% right. Like we definitely on 2 and 3. And that was 100% civil rights. That's what our people been fighting for since we woke up here. Right. And the problem is 1A through C.
Can't get no justice, baby.
Can't get no justice.
Can't get no justice, baby. No, zero. Zero.
It almost should be 2 different words, right?
It's like go be number 2. Oh, that or number 3, whichever suits you, but number 1 ain't where you're gonna be at.
Because there's like look at number 3, conformity to truth, fact, or reason. Correctness is not a part of the law process.
Of course not, because because the law is about what you can prove. That's why that whole thing was don't get caught red-handed. Yeah. That's because and they even say you're innocent until proven guilty. Even though the process seems different now that we have social media where you can get judged by 1 million before you get judged by 12. For real. So I think that like social media justice is different, way different from the courts. And we see this play out. I mean, you just name it.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't even, if it's people who wanted George Zimmerman to go to prison, or people who wanted Diddy to go to prison, like we see it. We see it on a full level that, like, okay, no matter who's wrong or who's right or who wants what or who wants this, it's still in the court systems. It's going to be innocent until proven guilty. Prove you ain't do this. Prove you didn't do that. Do the case. Go through the whole. What was it? The way they said the process.
The process.
Yeah. Go through the whole process.
Court of last resort.
Yeah, that's the Supreme Court. Yeah. And that's something that people should know. Here's a bit of information. A lot of people don't know that the Supreme Court does not hear cases. What they do, they an appellate court, and they the highest appellate court. So they are at the appeal. So you have to appeal up to the Supreme Court. And then when you go in there, like, it won't be like in the federal court where you had your trial and everything. They just look at the evidence from the trial to determine the case law, if this was used right or this was used correctly or
Mm-hmm.
incorrectly and stuff like that, you know. So it's cool to know how it works, you know, especially if, in particularly being Black History Month, African American peoples, you know, would like to be fairly judged and have some type of gauge to understand like the whole court processes. You know, it is something that we should learn how the court work. It's a lot of people that commit crime, you know, and then they don't know how the court work. They don't even know what they're facing. We're not promoting that people commit crime, but it's like, know what you facing though. You know, like don't just make a foolish decision and go out there and then boom, and now, you know, jeopardize your whole life, well-being and everything over something you did. You did it, you know. But it's like understand what you up against. It might be prevented. It might be a preventive thing where it's like, hey, if I know if I go do this, I'm gonna miss all these Christmases. I ain't gonna be able to do stuff that I like. I ain't gonna be able to go down to the Cinnabon place and you know, like I ain't gonna, you know, like I ain't gonna be able to do this and do that, man. Nah, I can't go to the store and get me some eggnog mixed with my bourbon when it's snowy outside. Like, nah, I don't. You gotta think about that first, and I think that knowing what you're up against is a good way to determine, you know, if that's something that you should go against. For real, for your own benefit, just for your own benefit. So let's go over here to the thesaurus and see what justice is given to us in the form of synonyms. We have as in right, as in judge, and as in neutrality. So, as in right, we have the practice of giving to others what is either due or an instance of this. All right. So we have right, goodness, equity, fairness, virtue, a fair shake, impartiality, integrity, equitability, equitableness, righteousness, even handedness, fair mindedness, honor, uprightness.
I like all those words.
I love it to death.
All those words are dope. Like those words, you could like, if you dealing with a person and this is how you feel about them, and this is how they feel about you, I think everybody's sleeping good at night.
I think y'all winning.
Super winning, I think.
I think y'all winning. I think in any relationship they got fairness, equitableness, virtue, and some integrity, some righteousness, you know, some
Man,
even-handedness, some uprightness, fair-mindedness. Like be fair, you know.
fair-mindedness, man. Did I hit first? Was I insensitive? Did I hurt your feelings? Like, did I tell a joke incorrectly? Like, was it a poor joke?
I drink to all that, God.
Yo, I like that. I'm liking
You
justice.
know what I'm saying? I drink to all that because in order to acknowledge those things, you have to be what virtuous
You do.
and have what integrity
That is true.
and desire to be righteous, not just be right.
Nah, right. Oh, yeah, the right is there.
not just be not just be right, because right is right there too.
Right is right there too.
But what's right without the righteousness? So yeah, so we loving this so far though. Justice, as in right, a practice of giving to others what is their due, or an instance of this. Let's go to judge. We have justice as in judge, a public official having authority to decide questions of law. So that's why when you hear about judges, they're called a justice. When we watch it on TV and they say justice so and so, that's why they get that title, justice so and so. And they don't call them, you know, a lot of times they don't call them Supreme Court judges. They call them, you know, they address them by justice so and so. Justice Thurgood Marshall, had to throw him up in there. Justice Clarence Thompson. It's Black History Month. You know, we doing a little something. Ain't it a sister up there too? What's her name? I don't think I forgot you.
Ketanji Jackson.
Justice Ketanji Jackson. We ain't forget you, boo.
Ketanji, right? Yeah, I think that's what. Yeah,
Ketanji. We gonna put some respect on your name.
Justice Ketanji. I think that's what it is. Ketanji Jackson.
Ketanji, yeah. I don't really know it. Don't fault me for not keeping up with all of that. Y'all got who they appoint and who they don't appoint, but you know,
I'll look it up right now.
I'm really trying to focus on geopolitics at the moment.
Justice Ketanji Brown.
Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Yeah.
All right. Shout out to her too. It's Black History Month, y'all. We do big things. We do big things. You know, for real. Just because it's one, it can be more people that can. Well, you know, I don't know. That might be kind of like being getting to the NBA. You know, they do 1 in 400,000. So I might not want it. We might not want to hype everybody up on. Yeah, you could be a Supreme Court justice too, because that's like some one out of. That's NBA numbers too. But
yeah, they got to die damn near to get a new one.
Yeah, because it's appointment for life. But federal judges, you know, you can go in there and be a federal judge and go get in that seat and wait for somebody to die. You know,
because they will do that.
How bad you want it, you know. For real. And I'm talking to the youth. You younger, you got way more time. You got way more years ahead of you. You know what I'm saying? Than they got.
Right.
So if you want it, see it, believe it, and achieve it. Go do that. So we got justice as in neutrality. Lack of favoritism towards one side or another. So that's neutrality. Neutrality. Objectivity. Neutralism. Objectiveness. Impartiality. Equity, fairness, even-handedness, non-partisanship, disinterestedness, fair-mindedness, tolerance, detachment, indifference, unconcern, apathy, broad-mindedness, straddling, open-mindedness, and fence-sitting. Okay. So we've heard all of these right before. We heard people say you straddling the fence.
Yeah.
You know, non-partisanship. You know, we hear bipartisanship a lot, but we don't hear non-partisanship used a lot, right? You know, open-mindedness. We hear that. That's something big socially. You know, you should be more open-minded. You know, you should be more open-minded. And I don't know if people are referring to it as injustice. For daggone sure.
So they might be, right? Because in reference to neutrality, right, where you don't necessarily care, just be open-minded, don't care about it. Just see if you like it or not. That might be on some more. They want you to just be neutral and just come. And you might like it. It's what they might be hoping. Now that I'm looking as the neutrality part,
okay,
it might 100% be that, right? Because
is that use case though? Is that like where we? Because I get it tied together like
in my mind,
hey, like let's ride this roller coaster, and you like I'm not really into roller coasters, but.
That's cool. I know you don't like it, but just come with me though.
Like be open-minded about it.
Just be open-minded about it. Yeah. Like, all right. Yeah.
You know, so if I throw up on you, then that's okay, right? You're not gonna mind the open minded, but if my gut open up,
I just won't be mad.
you know, even if I don't get you in some wind chunk and some chunks blow your way, like don't even worry about it. Just open mind.
Open minded.
Have an open mind about it.
Yeah.
Definitely. So a lack of favoritism toward one side or another. Neutrality. I get that injustice
Yeah.
when you say a lack of favoritism towards one side or other. God, maybe you can speak from this more so than I can, but I just from as a child, and I know you being a parent, I know that like parents had to exemplify me having a sibling. You also having siblings too. Like parents have to exemplify like some type of neutrality in giving justice
Oh yeah.
when so it's like not showing favoritism to one side, to one child or the other one to solve the problem. you know
Yeah, that's how you get the other kid beat up when the parent ain't looking.
That sounds like hold up, but that sounds like you got punished.
Oh, now I'm the big brother.
That sounds like you taking out something because you got punished, because you got blamed for it. It's your fault anyway.
Oh, nah, as the big brother, it's always your fault. Like it's always your fault.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Because you know better.
You know better. You should have been watching.
Yeah. So yeah, I suffer from that trauma too. No, we over it. We over it. But definitely that's one of those examples that we see socially, in our culture, where that neutrality is mostly exemplified on a daily basis. Just trying to give our viewers some way to resonate with it. And something that they can laugh about. That's common practice. If you out here, mommy and daddy and in charge of life, and you on life control. So we got justice out here, y'all. And it is a noun, the process or result of using laws to fairly judge cases, redress wrongs, and punish crimes. Judge, a member of an appellate court, such as the Supreme Court justice, the administration of law. And then we see two here, the quality of being just, impartial, or fair. All right. The principle or ideal of fair treatment or right action, and conformity to this principle or ideal, righteousness, conformity to truth, fact, or reason, correctness. And before we jump back over to our questions, I wanted to make a point that the principle or ideal of fair treatment or right action, and it gives us his striving to achieve justice for all people. I know in the civil rights movements, and I know we hear it sometimes today with some of these overnight activism ploys, but you hear this thing that says no justice, no peace. And I believe this right here, this definition, this B1, is where that is coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because the people are saying, just want to be ideal and have fair treatment and right action. So let us know what y'all think in the live chat or in the comment section below. We would like to know, and we answer everything, anything, all things y'all talk about down there. So let's get into our second question. Is justice about punishment, accountability, healing, or all three? What you think, God?
So
I mean, we just
based up
after seeing the definition now, I mean,
after seeing the definition, it would have to be all three ideally. Because you have accountability in the process of law and all that stuff, and you may receive punishment as the end result of that process, right? But then as you see in 2 and 3, you start looking for a different level of accountability and a yearning for healing, because it's so needed, right? That's why I was saying earlier about why I feel like justice isn't real, because in order for it to touch everybody, it will has to be systemic. It will have to be a part of the process, right? Like that conformity to truth, right? Like that correctness would have to be a part of the process, and it couldn't be interpretable, right? And so that's why I say, right? So we want healing. Like it's like healing is definitely a part of it. And I don't think you can get to healing without accountability, right? And you may have to be punished, or somebody may have to get punished in order for accountability to be had, so that the healing process can start or end, right? And that's why, again, I'm gonna say it again. That's why I find it's so important for us to have a foundation of understanding, you know, especially when dealing with each other. Like I said, we got it colloquially in small circumstances, right? We don't have it enough on broader circumstances, right? Because if we did, all the things that, for the most part, we say we don't like, that the behaviors that we see of our people or in society, we would actively do something about them, right? But
who gonna do that?
exactly,
Who gonna do
right,
that?
right. Like the deacons of defense wouldn't be like we got all these churches. Churches ain't go nowhere, right? All of the Black Panthers either got locked up, escaped to other countries and transition,
I thought we
or
just seen the Black Panthers the other day. They was out there fighting for the immigrants.
they're not Black Panthers no more. They Black Lions.
Stop it. Stop it. They
they
ran
black
on the
they
top with short
they
like leprechauns. Goodness
nah they
gracious.
I want to say they Black Lions of the universe or something like
Black
that.
Lions of the universe.
Or
Okay.
yes, or something like that. I know it's Black Lions, right?
Okay.
Black Lion Supreme, something like that. I don't know. It's something Black Lion.
They got a new name though. What happened with their name though? They had to change their name.
Hell yeah. Like everybody going for that. Like everybody that I know was like, if that ain't the CIA and FBI, I don't know what is. Like everybody was like, agent, like how you talking about you the Black Panther Party today, and you ain't try to break nobody out of prison? You ain't try to go get a soda?
He said
Just
he tried to bring nobody out of prison. That's like a death mission. You gonna send them on a death mission right out the gate?
I'm gonna say it again. Just about all of the Panthers are either locked up, dead, or escaped to other countries, right? Because they was really serious about the stuff that they was talking about.
Nah, Bobby Seale teach at Winston-Salem State University.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying
He ain't dead. He ain't all dead.
dead, and they ain't all
I, th-
locked up.
I
Some
thought
of
they
them
was
out here
all
not
dead.
doing just not,
I
just
thought
not on it, not on it like that no more.
let me apologize to the brother because I didn't know he was still alive.
Yeah,
right?
like I
I
think
think
when that might be him. Maybe I got his name wrong, but
I have no idea.
it
I
is.
know those young brothers,
Let
ain't
me,
it?
because it's Black History Month. Let me get it right.
And they out there, and how could they be the Black Panthers and they not out there with no? No, they not it. They Black Lions. That's what they are. Let me look that up. See what they are.
Let me see who we got.
Black Lion Party.
Oh yeah. Larry Little. Larry Little.
Larry Little. Okay. He said he teach at where?
And, but he teach political science at Winston-Salem State University.
Shout out
Yeah,
to the guy.
yeah. Shout out to Larry Little. You know, yeah, Winston-Salem chapter of the Black Panther Party. Yep. And the brother is Larry Little also, and there was another brother too, co-founders, Nelson Malloy. Yeah, but yeah,
Respect to the elders.
yeah, respect to the elders though.
I I apologize from the bottom of my heart saying that y'all was all dead already. I apologize.
Nah, I mean the movement is dead. I could, like I think it's fair to say that as far as what it looked like then compared to now, that
Yeah.
movement no longer exists. Uh,
Official name is Black Lion Party for International Solidarity.
okay.
I like Black Lions of the Universe better.
Black Lions, just picking a name to give them, give them a name, give, give them a name, any name, they'll be fine. You know. Now, you know what? Now, are we doing exactly what we shouldn't be doing? This is Black History Month. We want to be correct. Should we be supporting the brother, saying, okay, well, at least he is trying to do something, or should it be? Should we continue how we assessing this thing? Because, like, what
So
moves has he done for the Black community first before we seen him trying to do something for an international community?
so the first thing and the best thing he did for the Black community was change his damn name of his organization.
Oh yeah, okay. Well then we can continue. That's
Shout out to the brother for that, cause get out of here with that shit, right? Like go
right.
over there with go over there, go over there with those people, right?
That shit crazy.
Um, and do that. Like shout out to them and their mission. And I'm not for oppression anyway. Like I'm anti that shit, but at the same time, Black History Month, like like don't be pro Black nothing and not doing nothing pro Black,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Like
yeah. I agree. Yeah, you could. It's kind of hard to look at it and get and find some form of encouragement when it's just like, what you really on, bro? Like you're not really on this pro Black thing, like from what we used to see in that right there is not the way you presenting that right now. It's not the way we would expect to see a resurgence of the presence of the Black Panthers. Like I don't think anybody that considers themselves to be African American is looking for that, for it to reappear like that, you know.
no,
So I can't speak for everybody, but you African American. If you're not African American, let us know in the comment section. We want to know what you think about them. you know, that Black Panther Party that had to change their name to what, the Black Lions Universal.
Black Lion Party for International Solidarity.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, international solidarity.
Okay. So let me know when he get when he get to NATO. But matter of fact, if he ever got to NATO, then NATO might not even be a thing anymore with the border
Right?
peace and everything else. So, my man a little late. That's not.
International is like kind of scary right now, right? Like
That's
it's
all I'm saying. So yeah, I,
kind of
I don't.
not realistic, right? It's just not. It's
I don't think his army's big enough.
his army.
Yeah, I think he got enough troops. We don't believe you. You need more people. But move right along though. Is justice about punishment, accountability, healing, or all three? Man, I know the things you were saying, God, is about justice needing to have all three. Accountability, a healing component, and I'm thinking that like it is part of justice, part of that process. Like even if there isn't a victim, and you go through something, let's take justice from the criminal perspective, from the court perspective, just from the court perspective. All right, usually you have a plaintiff and a defendant. You got somebody saying something happened, and you got somebody defending themselves saying otherwise, right? So even in that process, there's a part of when it's over, there's some healing that has to be done. Throughout it, there has to be some accountability, because that's why questions are being asked. That's why facts are being presented, or things are being presented as facts.
Evidence is being presented.
Evidence, that's what they got. Evidence. Yeah, God.
That's so funny.
I mean, because that's it's innocent until proven guilty, right? So
Yeah,
understanding it helps us explain it like that. Like it'll make you laugh, because it's like, damn, is it a joke?
right.
It's like, is it a joke? But no, but if you were sitting on the other, depending on what side of the table you sitting on, like it's very real. It's very real, So it's like you have to understand that in that process that all of those things takes place, and then we take it to a more personable interaction, socially, where you're like, okay, how do we get to justice? Now, is this justice for us, or is this justice that we're asking somebody else to do something else? And the difficulties with that are when you asking somebody else to do something for you, you
That's a
you have
powerful question.
you have to look at what they have already done. What is that? What have they exemplified? You know, and then when you say, okay, if it's just between us, then you still have to look at what's being done. Is there accountability in the relationship? So then that's going to be trust. There's always going to be a healing, because even if the healing is just finally, we don't have to worry about that anymore, because it's resolved. It's healed. It was whatever was the two people were trying to figure out and solve, they got it solved. Whatever goal they were trying to obtain, they've reached their goal. Whatever work they had to do, you know. And what was that? What was the other word? The punishment. Just like in the courts, somebody gets punished. What based on a verdict, because somebody loses, somebody wins or loses, unless it's a mistrial and it's a draw, right? But typically, even in a social setting, somebody gets punished too, because of the lack of the ability to work together. So then, because there's no accountability on both parts, which we saw, we saw words like integrity and even-handedness and fairness and all of these things that come through that accountability component of justice. Because these things aren't in there, then yeah, people get punished. They may even punish themselves because they refuse to do the things that they know will help them heal. You know, and I don't know which one is right or wrong. You know, I just know which one works for me because of the way I think. So I say I can punish myself because I know when I did something wrong. I say I can have accountability because I hold myself accountable because my decisions, you know, like nobody else is going to take care of me. Nobody else is making sure that I have my needs met. You know, like there's no person I can call and cry to and say, hey, my needs not being met. I need you to do something for me. I don't have it like that. You know, and that's not um and that's not
You're not a woe with
disrespectful
me. Yeah.
to the people that I value that would look out for me if I needed something. No. But we talking about my own punishment. If in my own mindset, when I'm just like, okay, justice for me, that conclusion that I was talking about, that solution. That solution is making sure I don't punish myself. That would be a punishment. I would be punishing myself. It'd be like, I got control over that. Because if I'm managing what I need to manage for my necessities, then guess what? I don't have to put myself in that situation in the first place and then feel like I'm punishing myself. But a person would have to not feel like that they on punishment, you know,
In the
when they
first
can't
place.
in the first place. Yeah, they would have to feel like nah, I ain't on punishment. I'm just gonna get it from Ali. You know, I'm just gonna get it from so and so and so and so. I'm just gonna get it from them. They got it. So to me, I'd be punishing myself doing that because now, you know, I have to look at myself in the mirror and I have to say, like, damn, like you can't afford yourself, bro. You can't take care of yourself. You can't manage your responsibilities the way you need to for yourself, bro. How you gonna be good for anybody else? And that's the hard look that I have to give myself, you know, understanding that I don't have this person, that person, this person, that person that's like, come on, you could do it, you got it, you you can make it, you know.
You are that person.
You know, and that don't take away from my support systems, you know, you
Nah.
know, that don't take away from my support systems, but it's no daily, you know, we gotta hold your hand. And that's where I think that like in injustice, you know, there is gonna be that punishment, it is gonna be that accountability, it is gonna be that healing. You know, you are gonna have all of those things you will encounter. It's just a lot of times how we interpret it. So, you know, hopefully some of our insights can help people interpret some of them things differently.
Yeah.
So our third question, make sure to smash the like, y'all, if y'all just joining us. Do protests, movements, and activism actually lead to justice or just awareness?
In being fair, I think that if I consider the civil rights movement of the past and why that was so significant, I think that because it was televised, it forced everybody with a TV to see what they refused to accept was going on in the rest of America, right? Because you know that whole chattel slavery thing in the South wasn't happening like that everywhere. Everybody couldn't afford to be a slave owner and have a big old plantation and do all that stuff. So you have a whole lot of people that can claim, not it kind of thing. And so they can say, oh, that's not happening. Why would somebody do that? And they was oblivious to it. But once it started being televised and broadcast all over the world, and everybody could see people getting hosed, people getting dog sicked on them, like people getting beat by the police and having mobs chasing them and just getting the worst human treatment possible, right? For no other reason, just because of the way that they look. That was awareness, right? And from that awareness, we're still seeking justice, right? So for me, I can say that, and if I follow that up with protests and all of the movements, the Black Lives Matter, the any other movement, they may do things, right? And they may, but even those things are more so about awareness, because mostly because of how contested they are, right? And I feel like they spend more time fighting back than actually accomplishing whatever mission or goal they may say that they might have, right? So they spend a lot of time defending themselves, right? So I think it's just awareness only, right? I don't, you know, Malcolm X was assassinated, Martin Luther King was assassinated, Medgar Evers, like there's so many, and their life achievements, everything that they stood for, today, February 1st, 2026, we are still fighting for, we're still asking for the same levels of respect and just humanity. Like we're still bringing awareness and trying to say, hey, you got a lot of folks right now, right? If you look at, I think it's Minnesota with the whole ICE movement and stuff like that. You got a whole lot of people are saying, now look, it's happening to you guys too, right? See, we told you, right? And that's such a messed up statement or a thought process, because it almost sounds like you're hoping that somebody experiences the same atrocities that you was forced to experience, instead of somebody realizing like, yo, like that shit can't go, right? So and even that, like what's actually coming about from that so far is just awareness, right? No lives matter. Seem like everybody can catch a bullet, right? It seemed like it don't matter. They can, it don't matter what you was doing. You can comply, not comply. You can make a mistake, right? And 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 it can just be your day, right? So I'm not convinced that from any of this awareness, justice has actually been accomplished anywhere. So I think it's all just to bring awareness on.
No doubt. Just for awareness. Shout out to the chat, y'all. We got some people in the chat. Ducks Y. Shout out.
Peace, Doc.
And you got a couple comments in here, but we just really, I'm gonna let you know, Doug, you can pull up, man, and say what you want in the comment section. We do not care. Okay. But it'll be cool if you speak to the subject, to the topics, you know, because we really want to know what people think about, you know, these words and these questions that we pose, because yes, there are other things going on. We see some of your comments. I'm not gonna put it up on the screen, but yeah, it is a lot of stuff going on. But like, even right here, we're not really placing no blames. Our thing is to understand what's going on, because the blame is already there. Like, that's the obvious. We're not trying to point out the obvious. You know, we gotta have solutions, because if this thing is continual, if it's like no end in sight ever,
Yes,
all
man,
right,
what's the point?
then
Oh my God, that'd be tough.
you know, then it's just like, I'm not gonna keep being mad at something that I can't change. Like, I if I'm doing that,
Facts.
then what's happening is I'm not focusing on what I can change, you know. And even though I'm not the biggest fan of President Obama, you know, he said something. He said, "Be the change that you want to see." You know, the only thing I think that he forgot to say was, "But don't be scared to do the work."
Don't be scared to do the work.
You know, and I think that would have been more profound, you know, and um gave some instruction, you know, and that would let people know that, like, when if they traumatized by the word work, I don't want to work, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, you know, then guess what? Then be comfortable with how things are for you, for yourself, you
For
know, and
yourself.
for yourself. Yeah. So we appreciate you pulling up though, Duck. Smash that like button though. And we got this one right here. Justice is hard to pin down, so why stay quiet about it? Well, I mean, you know, we got different levels of it, and that's what we talking about here. You know, we examining and analyzing this whole thing. You know, we read the definition earlier. Go pick up the definition. It's a two-part definition, and a lot of the words that we use in society and culture have multiple definitions. They have multiple applications.
Hmm.
That's what I'm looking for. Multiple applications. All right. So a lot of times we get stuck on one, and we don't know the full entirety of how it should be applied. So look at what happens in your life when you get stuck on one thing. It's the same thing. If you just stuck on this one thing, then that's what you want. You're stuck there. It's holding you down. You can't grow from it. You can't be better than that. You can't change it. You can't evolve from it. You can't improve, self improve from it. You stuck right there. So everybody gets stuck on something, but don't get stuck on stupid, you know? And when I say being stuck on stupid, everybody, oh, that's an insult. No, it's not, because I've been stuck on stupid before too.
Hmm.
Okay. But the thing is, I realized, I looked in the mirror and I said, man, that's stupid. Why you stuck on that? Do better. And then I had to go and be the change that I wanted to see and do the work, you know? So I'm just saying, if that ain't in you, then, you know, then that's cool. But I think it's in everybody. It's just waiting for them to flip that switch on they self, you know? So Yeah, like we not even on that. So oh crap. Okay, so do protest movements and activism actually lead to justice or just awareness? That's our question right now. And yeah, based on what you were saying, God, like all of the things that we have seen in American culture, all of the actual assassinations that have taken place, um, the whole asking for fairness, for equality, that has all been a fight, and we all know um, who those group of people, those group of activists, those group of African Americans have been requesting that from. That is no secret. So if all it leads to is more activism, which we see here, like we was just, you know, casually joking about the brother with the Black Lion Party now, and this international whatever thing. But and that's no disrespect to him. It's just like bro, you might as well start a nonprofit, you know, because like that's not it. That's not what that was, and that's not what that represented. So that's all we have been seeing is activism. We haven't been seeing any referendums, no reform, no new legislation being posed. You know, after the Civil Rights Act, I mean, like that's probably the biggest thing that the African American peoples have had done at the legislative level in the United States. That's it. That's like the last one. That was like some FUBU shit, like for y'all by us, for you by us, you know, for
Right.
real, So like that was the last time. Ever since then, I'm not aware of it, not in my lifetime. So yeah, we gotta get to some justice. We gotta get to some justice and figure out what that not just means, but like how we can apply it, going having a foundation for it. Like the guy was saying earlier, like we don't have a foundation for justice. And I'm not even talking about, at the courts. I'm talking about amongst each other. You know, like um, how the Bible said, "Do unto others as you do on," don't covet your neighbor's house and all them type of things. Like those principles. Thou shalt not steal and thou shalt not kill, and you know, all of those things. Like we don't have no justice for us, no rules, no standard, no foundation, and like I said, like we all do better. We all need to be better. It's not just pointing a finger at one particular group of African American individuals and this, that, because all of this stuff have a little daisy chain effect. If I'm almost 50, but I'm trying to date women my son's age, then what example am I setting? If I got a son who's 25, I'm 50, and I'm bringing home girls, he like that. Like that's like me right there.
Like, nah, son, that's me.
Like, nah, that's me. You know. So what example am I setting? And vice versa. The mother's doing the same thing or whatever, So it's like we don't have no type of thing that we even put as a balance to say we're not going to conduct ourselves like this. for the greater good of the reflection of us. You know, we always said we comfortable with the N word and the B word being applied. You know, and way too comfortable with that. So let us know what y'all think. Let us know what y'all think. Do protest movements and activism actually lead to justice or just awareness? Because right now the Cigarden Panel unanimously is on it's just awareness. Because we haven't got to any type of justice. The asking for some to be FUBU'd for you by us, or us actually coming together and saying, you know, let's really put that principle of us supporting us into effect and act like it and do the work, be the change that we want to see. You know, it's Black History Month, y'all. I'm going in. We can't bank black. Okay. You can't bank black. Anybody telling you could bank black is bogus. We don't make the money. That's why. It's not that we can't open a bank and begin to bank and begin to extend and begin to try to have those same type of structures to support our communities, but we need to learn what that is first. If we can't learn what that is first to understand how that works, then it's impossible. And then we have to also be real and understand that if you open a bank, you still have to, you can't make bad loans. I can't just give you a loan because you're black. So it's still a working together process. It's still a, you doing what you need to do, and we making sure that you got the resources to do it, but you're honoring having that availability, that opportunity to be able to take advantage of these things, and you not having to go somewhere and feel uncomfortable like as soon as I walk in here because I got dreads or I got red hair or I got, you know, purple tips or gold twist or cornrows or a bald head or fade or whatever, or you know that you're gonna worry about getting judged for your idea. No, like, but until we begin to do that, shout out to Dr. Claude Anderson. You know, we're gonna hear a lot of names. It's Black History. We're gonna be dropping name bombs, you know, of these brilliant black people, you know, who are really putting things out there that, you know, like we need to consume. We need to consume what they're saying, but then we need to apply it.
Because they not just things just to read and pontificate on. Like the brother actually gives you actionable items to improve not only just your daily life, but those around you too.
Absolutely. You know, so those are them things, man. We gotta focus on that, y'all. We can do better, but remember, it's we. It's we. It's we already in a place where people looking at like, oh, you got this or you got that. Y'all gotta remember that came from the plantation. That's not really how we, and I'll go far as to say that's not really how we are spiritually as a people, because look how long the injustices have been going on, and don't nobody really want to fight for it. Don't nobody really want to crash. Everybody want to talk loud and say this and that and the third, but it's still a loud ask. It's just yelling at it as an ask to get FUBU, to get the for us by you. You know, for you by us. And they not doing it. We got stories of senators getting, you know, and we talking about, I had an idea one time where I was just like, man, maybe we could get we could start like developing youth, young Black youth, all right,
Yeah,
to actually, you know, go into political science with intentions of running for office and things like that. But that's a communal effort, right?
100%.
However, it's like, okay, but if they get there and then they don't manage their money, their campaign funds or something happens, they don't even know, they mismanage their campaign funds, right? Now, whether they do it on intentionally or whether they just don't know no better, then it's still like, damn, they're gonna get persecuted.
Yep.
Now it just ruined their chances for if they were able to go into that space and make some change and affect some change or do something that would allow some change. It's done. They done. You can't do nothing with them. They already tarnished. And then once they get tarnished, what happens? Their donors and everything go away and people stray because now you got the social stigma on you because nobody really wants to know, like, hey, what happened? Did you purposely do this, or what is this negligence, or is it
Hmm.
ignorance? You know, and for people who are ignorant and may not know what ignorant means or is defined as, pardon me, it's just a lack of knowledge. We only use it negatively. Yo, ignorant ass. We only use it negatively, so that's why people don't even care about the value of knowing the word and its proper application. Because most of the time, people are using it in its proper application. They just, you know, trying to be,
Yeah.
they talking down on something. So shout out to like I said, Dr. Claude Anderson. And it's people dropping jewels, man. We're gonna be saying out names this whole month, while we do this thing and Black history, because we got a lot. Black people have made a lot of strides considering the history, Black people's history in this country, in our country, you know, and we still doing it too. People haven't fall off. People haven't, people still out here doing things.
We still
So
here?
let's go ahead and get into our fourth question. Is justice something that actually exists, or is it more of an individual ideal that we imagine? What you think, God?
I think individual ideal that we imagine, right? Um, and I think it's for the reasons you was kind of saying, right? Like, so this is my thing. So it's hard in reality to have a foundation for real, of fairness in a melting pot, right? When people come from different places with their own adult mindsets and thought processes and how they want their lives to be, right? And especially if they come from a ethnic group that come here with an agenda to cooperate, right? So that they can win. Those like those people are not thinking the same way as people that have always been here, um, or people that's from a different place with different agenda, right? So it's hard to get to a foundation so we can have fairness, right? So it gets down to, like I say, just us. And then you start talking about who is the us, right? Can you only get justice ethnically, right? Because that's like the first place I would imagine. Because again, colloquially, right, the way we talk to each other, Like you can't talk to a foreigner the same way, right? You can't talk to somebody that's from someplace else the same exact way that you would talk to your brother that know exactly how you coming with it.
Some people do that though.
They
Some
do.
some people do that though. They aren't very successful in their communication. You know, they think you can talk to everybody the same way, and they just supposed to accept it. Like, I don't gotta change how I talk to somebody for just for you. Like, I am how the fuck I am. Blah, blah, blah. You know, like they not they not
Yeah,
doing shit in life for real.
and you know, and I accept that, right? And I'm saying because you need to have enough consideration if you're not gonna have consideration for the person you're talking to adjust so that you can effectively communicate, then stay away from them, right?
That part.
Like
That
just
part.
stay like if you're not gonna change, if you're not gonna be adjustable or adaptable or fair-minded, right? Because if this person is straight, I'm gonna just say someplace in Asia, right? If they straight from Asia and they got this language that they been knowing their whole life, and now they just fresh over here and they trying to communicate and like they live in your neighborhood, they've been here a couple years, but they ain't really got it like that for real, for real. Like you can say, yeah, because you've been here a couple years, you should know better by now. But realistically, like how much have you been talking to them for them to know better? How much have they been interacting with you other than on a business level for you to know how they give it up, right? Like so you gotta have consideration and and I find that is in a melting pot under capitalism, like consideration is out the window, right? Because people are coming here with the idea and goal to get what they can get from America because America print their own money, right? So if they printing their own money, let me go over there and get it. Send that joint back to the crib. Let's get the good and what they say, getting it while the getting is good.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like catch the lick, right? Um, again, those people have a different thought process from everybody else. That might be trying to establish or make this thing better or different than what it has been, right? It's like how do you get justice when people are absolutely benefiting from the status quo and you're trying to change? Like that's tough, right? So that's why I say for me, it's an ideal that lives in our imagination because I don't know how we will ever even get to it with all of our different thought processes and religious and just language barriers.
Yeah, God, you just said, how do we get justice when everybody? What was that? How do we get justice when everybody has a different version? Is that what you said? That's not what you said.
No,
That's not what you said. But
I
but
said last year.
no, but to what you just said, y'all have to rewind it back. Um, what I what I what I what I like about it was that everybody we need to when capitalism. How do
Oh
we
yeah,
how do we get justice when everybody benefits off of capitalism, right? So we got to become capitalists,
you got to
and
become capitalist.
we got to become capitalists. You know, we have to find the benefit for ourselves and see, and that's no different what all of us are doing. Who the people who look and be like, oh, you change, or you think you this, or you think you that, you know, no, we've been finding the benefits, and we're not settling for what the status quo may say we supposed to be, or what a stereotype says you supposed to be, or what a social status quo says you supposed to be. And that's what the only thing that's happening is Black people in general are not intentionally doing it as a collective.
Facts.
Because there's no pullback, like you was talking about, into seeing those ethnic groups that work together to continue to advance each other. And when they advancing each other, people say, oh, well, they just, helping each other out. No, they're advancing their race. That's what they're doing. They're advancing their race. They saying, we gonna work together and help other people who look like us. And we're gonna pull back into it, and we're gonna share the resources. So if it's somebody need to teach you, if you say, hey, how'd you do that? All right. And you say, can you do that for me? And I say, no, I can't do it for you. And why you can't do it for me? And I explain to you, this the reason why I can't do it for you. But I can make sure that you have every single tool and resource, everything that I know that I did, I'm gonna share it with you. That right there is still part of that building together process. Because just because that person not gonna do it for you, and you ain't offering no money, you can go pay somebody to do something. But just because the person not gonna do it for you, but they say, okay, whatever their excuse was, because we don't demonize the word excuse. When you went to school and you missed a day, it was counted cool if you had a valid excuse. So people need to start acting like excuse is not a word with duality. It ain't just a negative word. All right. But whatever the excuse is, all right, it still is that person communicating to you that they can't do that specifically, but they can still help you reach your goal.
Yeah.
Okay. And they care about your desire to want it enough to say, okay, well, I can't do it, but I'm going to make sure that you have all of the resources and the know-how, so that way if you want to get there, you can. All right. So, so we're lacking that. We're lacking even an understanding of that. You can do that with people and they still will have, some disdain or well, why you can't do this for me? Well, why, because they can't have it the way they want it.
I think a lot of that is ignorance on the asker's part on what's reasonable. Right. So they actually think that is reasonable for you to be able to do it twice.
Right. Right. But you might have did it once and realized like you can't physically do it anymore. It wasn't a wise physical choice.
Correct.
But that don't mean that you don't have the knowledge, because you actually did it, to make it better when you even give instruction to do it the second time, or the third time, or the fourth time.
But that's why I say, right, so their ignorance will say that you're gatekeeping because you're giving them all the verbal clues and giving them all the actual tools and everything, but because you're not actually banging the nail with the hammer yourself and building the table for them and say, okay, did you see how I did it? And now they got a table that they can use. They say you gatekeeping. Out of my consideration, like I really don't, I'm calling that ignorance on their part, on just poor expectation management, right? They just have no foundation on what's reasonable, right? Because they just been spoiled.
That's what I think too. I think people who have that attitude have been spoiled, and they think everybody's supposed to spoil them.
They think everybody's supposed to spoil them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I ain't got it.
Definitely. I mean, I got some information. What I can do physically, I can do physically. But but if I can give you the information, like And I always say, like, don't trust me, go do your own research, like, but I'm not gonna waste your time though, you know, like I wouldn't, because I value my word, so if I give you my word, then that's what my word is, right or wrong, bad, good or bad, however you interpret it, I gotta stand on it. I gotta own up to the consequences, the good consequence, the bad consequence, you
Yeah.
know. And that's another thing, like people misinterpret consequence. Well, how you saying consequence? Ain't that negative? No. If a consequence of my investments was I made money, then is that bad? If a consequence of me going to the gym to work out in the morning, I got the best machine, is that bad? No, that's winning. All right. A consequence of me getting to work early, I got to get a lot of stuff done before people came in. That was the consequence of me going to work early. I got some stuff accomplished. That's a good outcome from consequence. So y'all, we did that. I don't know which episode it is, but go check out the definition of the word consequence. So so people don't. So you're not
Dope.
misinformed. So you're not loud and wrong out here. So we can be better. Like Dr. Mo said. Shout out Dr. Mo. you
Peace,
know,
Dr. Mo. Loud and wrong is terrible, God.
yes, we supposed to get better. Um, you got a bunch of comments in here. You've been rocking out with us in the chat. But definitely we on this question right here, y'all. Make sure y'all smash that like button. We appreciate y'all for pulling up. Is justice something that actually exists, or is it just more of an individual ideal that we imagine? And yeah, God. I mean, I'm just like, I'm thinking that it's something that we imagine. I don't know if it's I mean, all of the things that we were saying it means to us and all of that stuff in the beginning, asking the first question, like, what do we think about when we hear the word? I see all of those things in real life, like those applications of what people think justice is versus a uniform, universal foundation of what justice, you know. And we know what it is in the court system, but it's all of those things. It's punishment, it's accountability, and it is some healing, right? It is some type of resolve. It's a conclusion. We see that. But when we look at the justice, when we're talking about um into social injustices, to these things that we think can be approached different and have a better result, when we look at collectively as a people just trying to unify on one thing, just one thing, and just be like, all right,
One thing.
like, okay, like, so we all are African American. Okay, let's just start there. All right. And then now let's build from there. So we agree on that one. Okay, so now what do we need to do? Okay. Boom, 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 boom. I don't think we'll ever get there. I'm not hopeful. Okay, I think hope is a terrible strategy um
uh,
when trying to obtain a goal.
oh yeah, no, you gotta nah.
So you got to do the work.
You gotta
So,
work.
so fantasy land, I just don't, and my spirit doesn't allow, maybe when I transition, I'll be able to, maybe there's something for me there, but in this realm here on earth, like I just, like you have to try to make things nice that you can make nice, or perfect or better for you. And it's always that, like I say, that they at least we do have our bootstraps, like at that bare minimum. And I get that from traveling the world and seeing how some people not even given bootstraps, don't even have the opportunity for a bootstrap. Now it makes you
Yeah.
look at it like, okay, here with the history, now some of them places may not have the same history either. So, you know, we should at least be given a pair of boots first before you tell us to strap them up, you know. But understanding what's going on here is like, nah, you got to work to get your boots first, you
You
know.
got to work to get your boots first.
You know, you got to hope, matter of fact, that it's somebody even willing to loan you some money to get some boots so you can get to work. Because, you know, you might be a young person in real life that, like, I know that this didn't happen to me because I was doing illegal things and I had a little money in my pocket in my youth. All right. But like, I remember some adults that I worked with when I would go and get little part-time jobs and work in different little areas, painting and construction and uh, landscaping and things like that. You need a pair of work boots, you know? So you have to go to, you know, granddaddy or one of your cousins or somebody like that and be like, bro, can you let me, you know what I'm saying, get a couple of dollars so I can get a pair of boots so I can go to work, you know? Or granddad, I need some money so I can go to, you know, so I can get some boots or get some work boots so I can, you know, go get this little job or whatever. I'm gonna pay you back when I get paid, you know. So that's people believing in you, believing in your ability. But what you exemplified was the desire to want to be better.
Yeah, you need to work boots.
You know. So you think I haven't gone and asked for stuff before too? Like, hey, cuz, can you give me a couple of dollars? Man, I ain't got that. You better go figure something out. You know.
Yeah.
You know, you guys, yeah, I'm gonna ask mama. I remember going to ask her, well, I don't know, baby. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna see about that, you know. So I ain't gonna tell you no, but I ain't gonna tell you, but not right now. You know, we got
All
some
right now.
not right now. We got some more important things on the chalkboard that we need to get checked out. So, you know, collectively, I think that, you know, we need to focus on a justice for us first. You know, it sounds like separatism or, you know, but I don't want people to confuse any of those things like separatism or nationalism or any of these things with people trying to come together and do some things that are going to benefit each other. It's no different from a company or organization trying to come together and trying to say, okay, look, we've been doing some things wrong. We see a vision. We have a unified vision that this company can be marketable, can be worth something, can, you know, can be significant. We got a product. What is our product? What is this? What is that? If we approach things like that, I mean, that's something that like nobody's even saying that. You know, I hear a lot of the same things, the narratives that are constantly reiterated over and over again. I mean, like it's February, it's Black History Month. Who they gonna tell us about? Frederick Douglass, uh, Eli Whitney in the Cotton Gin, Martin Luther King, uh,
uh,
Harriet Tubman,
Rosa Parks.
Rosa Parks, what's the sister name? Mary McLeod Bethune
Yeah,
Cookman.
you might get Sojourner Truth.
Man, in college. In college. You ain't gonna get that on no elementary school, middle school level.
Yeah.
You know. So it's like that's where the seed gets planted at first. And I'm just like, you know, I did have a mindset one time that like they should just stop teaching slavery.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that it should still be communicated. It should still be, the history should still be taught. But the curriculum needs to be revamped completely. We need to add a lot more post-slavery stuff, you know, to like, yeah, this happened, but look at this, and this, and this, and this, and this. So the mindset doesn't just linger on the, damn, y'all gave us everything. And we can't do shit unless y'all give it to us.
We ain't nothing but black.
For you, by us. And as long as that like continues, you know, then and there it goes. Stop teaching it from a defeated perspective.
Yeah.
Shout out Dr. Mo. Like, stop teaching it from a defeated perspective. It was a comment that got on I was watching this thing on going through my feed or whatever on IG, and the brother made a post, and I commented on it, and I said, like, bro, are we defeated? So are black people just defeated? Are African American people just defeated? Because that's the way it appears. If nobody is willing to die about it, okay, we just see our young people crashing out, dying over foolishness, messing with girls, clout, somebody said something, they feelings, because somebody said something to them, didn't touch them, didn't do nothing, they said something to them. We losing young black male, young African American men at a way more alarming than we was doing in our generation. You know, so it's like ain't nobody fed up of that. Like, if at least if it's crashing out, at least crash out for the benefit of something, for the benefit of people, that so they can have more opportunities, you know, like. But if it's just crashing out to just now need to go fund me, or have your mama crying, have your homeboys with a t-shirt, and then they spinning, trying to shoot up any and everything, killing innocent people, whoever getting away, because they emotionally charged. Like, that's what our culture at. That where is the justice? It's not anything about that even given to ourselves is the quality of being just, impartial, or fair, or ideal of fair treatment and right action, righteousness. None of that. You know, so like we always say, man, we ain't the gurus, but you know, we didn't live. I think we got almost 100 years on this panel collectively. Yeah, you old. You're like, damn, when you put it like that. You know, they tell you when you write in some of these writing courses and some of these speaking courses, they be like, you know, don't say you have 10 years of experience, you know, say you have over a decade of experience. Right? It make it sound so much larger than, you know, people like a decade. You could just say 10 years. You know. So we have over a century of life. You know. And you know, something might be beneficial, man. So if it is, you know, pick it up, have a smoke. If not, leave something in the ashtray for somebody else, and smash that like button. You know, but let us know in the comment section. Is justice something that actually exists, or is it more of an individual idea that we imagine? And you know, it's difficult right now. I think we imagine in it, and there isn't enough solutions going to, you know, what is the justice that everybody wants? There's not even a collective balance of or something to actually go specifically to and say, okay, this is what justice looks like for us. This is what justice looks like right here. And then which one are we picking? Are we picking to go ask for it? This is what we think justice looks like. Give it to us.
Please.
Please. This is what justice looks like for us. Give it to us, please. You know? Or is it, we tired of begging for that shit? Let's try something we ain't never did. Or matter of fact, that's a lie, because we had it, and we had all of the black business districts that were, you know, destroyed throughout American history. the Tulsa, Oklahomas, the Greensboro, North Carolinas, the Winston-Salem, North Carolinas, the Texases, the down there in Texas, they had some places, the Rosewoods in Florida.
Yeah.
You know, and so many other places in Georgia and, you know, across the South and all these places, even up north, Cleveland and places like that, you know. So we had all of these places that the people were able to work together to build something, to have something. And with all these little young steppers and sliders, I don't think it's gonna go the way it's, you know. I don't think it's gonna go like that. I mean, now unless they just send ICE in there and say go in there and lock everybody up, you know, it might get popped off. Then dude could have a reason. Now, you know what I'm saying? The Black Lion Party. Then what he say? If somebody shoot, ain't no ICE agent gonna run up on them. I'm just like, then guess what? That would be the real stance right there to see if you really about that action, boy. To see if you really gonna turn up. If your crash out for your people is for real.
Not even for your people, for your cause. Let's just say for your cause.
For your cause. There you go.
Yeah.
For your cause. I like that. It's keeping it political. Keeping it political. You know, so let us know what y'all think in the comment section, y'all. Is justice something that actually exists? Or is it more of an individual ideal, you know, that we imagine? Because I keep hearing people screaming, no justice, no peace. And my thing is what is the justice that we're looking for to get to that peace?
Or my question is, what peace is actually being disturbed when they say no peace, right? Because if nothing is changing and we're not necessarily getting justice, then it seems like it's the same peace. Like it seems like everything is everything.
Nothing's changed, right?
So
Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. You know, it's just a little bit more difficult to move around when your whole community's burnt down because you was upset. So, you know,
like when the ancestors and elders back in the day was saying no justice, no peace, they were saying that with like intent to follow through with a Molotov cocktail and all kind of actual activities, right? Like they was willing to put the actual body on the line for their words, right? It wasn't just threats for a lot. That's why I say that's why I made the poor assumption that they was all dead or locked up or in another country somewhere because they went hard. Right. It wasn't just talk.
Yeah. But definitely a lot of people just have gotten tired.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people have just gotten tired. And the youth is not motivated to take up arms, you know, but only against each other. So this whole Willie Lynch thing, you know, I think that's what we're going to do next week is the Willie Lynch thing. Bad, good, or misunderstood. And being that it's Black History Month, we need to take that's a part of Black history because it's affecting us today. But it's interesting. It's just interesting to see if it's any justice. Like what does it look like? What does the real justice look like? I haven't even heard any plans. Like, you know, there was one time Ice Cube had what did he have? He had a collective bargaining agreement, a CBA.
Yeah.
You know, but we haven't heard any more things from that, you know.
So my understanding with that is we haven't heard any more about that because we didn't support it, right? Like, I, I feel like if it was something that we supported, even if it didn't move anywhere legally or politically, it would still be in our conversations as something that would strive, almost like the reparations movement, right? Like it was supported by so many people for so long that it's still in conversation till today to even be debated over amongst ourselves, right? But yeah, I don't know, man. It's there's a lot going on out here.
It is definitely a lot going on out here. And we see you, Dr. Mo, over there. Yep, they not about that life.
Mm-mm.
Arms come with the discipline. It does.
Yeah,
Arms does come with discipline because you have to have a plan. Yeah, and we need to teach them how to write a plan.
yeah.
For sure. We have to stop sending plans and send resolutions. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. See them petition signatures. I don't think we need to ask for no petitions. Like I don't think we need to get no petition signatures because this will be happening. People go out and get petition signatures, and then on the day when everybody's supposed to show up, ain't nobody there.
No accountability.
You get 500 signatures, and then on the day it say, okay, well, we need you to be here on this day, and then you get 50 people, 75 people.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make that impact, right?
But it should though, right? Because it's something that if you it should, right? Because if you want to put your name down for a thing, it should be something that is worth saying to
Use electronic.
you.
They gonna say that it's rigged. They gonna say it's rigged.
Yeah, no, man.
They gonna
You're gonna
say
say
it's
it's all
electronic.
AI.
It's all
AI.
AI. you know, it's like the Million Man March, the first one. It wasn't a million black men
It
out
wasn't a
there.
bit.
It was a million. We was deep out there. Trust me, it was deep. It was deep. I never seen that many people in my life at one time. Black men all in one place, and everybody with smiles on their face, happy to see each other, happy to
No
be there.
violence.
None. You know. So one of the most peaceful protests ever in American
Yeah.
history. And it was all black men. See, black men, see what we can do? We gotta come together, baby. You know, the women to follow. You know, but the men ain't leading right. Ain't that what they say? On the when we see all these reels all on Instagram, the women we'll follow, we'll do this, we'll do that, but the men ain't leading right. That's what they saying, right? So, I know it's different. It's I know it's different issues that have to go in different, type of individual things that go to that. Like you can break that whole down, that can be a whole topic of a show. But I do know this: when African Americans had a family structure, or focused on having a family structure, we had the highest rate of success amongst African Americans families. Okay, now are we measuring the success to what we would call European? I mean, you here in America. So if you want to own a home, if you want to have a car, if you want to have the desegregation, after the desegregation, then everybody became a taxpayer. Okay. So if you want to
Not for
have these
nothing.
things,
Not for nothing. That's kind of when the standards fell apart, right? Because you got a lot of mixed ideas, emotions, facts, and evidence, right? Coming together and trying to make this new thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you even get to justice in a melting pot? right? You know, in segregation, everybody was separated, and it was easier to be on a level.
I think I
Right?
got an answer. I think I got an answer how you get the justice in a melting pot.
What's that?
You find an industry and become it.
Mm.
Because, like you said, it's capitalism, right?
Yeah, we gotta be capitalists.
We got to be capitalists. So we find the industry, and then we make sure that every single person who look like us, as many people as we can, get trained in that, and make sure that it's something that people need, and it's always going to be employment. And then we create businesses that support that. Okay.
Yeah,
We see that done in the medical field. We always been talking about this. We seeing this done now in the medical field with the East
yeah,
Indian people.
yeah.
We seeing this done. You know, we see everybody always talk about, oh, the Jewish people got money. They got their own city. They got their own little communities and everything. People act like you can't do that.
Government contracts. Yep.
Like it's impossible.
Yeah.
There are examples,
A
you
lot.
know. So I'm just saying, like, it could be done. You just have to desire to do it, you know, and not look at somebody trying that look like you and say, blah, 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 talking down, hating, not contributing nothing, being an old, won't lift a finger to help somebody ass type nigga,
Man,
you know?
they should get a whole nother kind of thing.
And that's it, you know, that's what it's just like that. And that's one of the things that we face as desiring a collective, because what happens when you have those people and they bring that negative energy to the foundation? It's almost like it sounds bad, but it's almost like there has to be a cleansing first.
Yep.
There has to be a commitment. There has to be a, how do I know that you really on what you say you on? Because after we take this step, it ain't no turning back. After we walk through this door, you can't go back. You know? And it's so crazy because it's just like people don't value their word no more. But people get mad over certain words. That's the craziest. That is the most insane thing to me, you know?
The same words that don't value.
It's like
They just
how? It's like
they
how?
just choose to be offended by them though.
You know, it's like how? How do you only get that and miss the big picture? Miss everything else. You only get stuck on the one thing and miss everything and all the value. It's crazy. But once again, we suffer from a lot of trauma. There's a lot of healing that still needs to happen. You know, and some people don't know how to heal. I think that's a thing too, that some people just don't know how to heal. They don't know how to get justice for themselves. They don't know how to look at self-justice. Just, you know, self-governance. It's just self-justice. Just like when we was talking about the grudge thing,
Yeah.
you know, and it's just like, and I was explaining like I can't hold a grudge. I already got enough shit going through my head already. So I can't have another thing going on that's like, especially if some minuscule shit. Like, it's no way, because it's not valuable. It's not worth what I need to be focusing my mind on and my attention on to be better. You know, because I gotta have some justice for me, because we know we ain't getting it from nobody out here. So, like Dr. Mo say, don't be deceived. They tap all into the programs, which become their business. You know, and it says, she said, what those small hats survive on government contracts. Yeah, the money's out here. The money is out here. But it's some people who know how to get to it. And then there's some people who mad that you know how to get to it. You know, and not enough. Can you show me? Can you teach me? You know, can you help me get there? And that ain't, and we ain't even asking nobody to be, you know, we dislike the word humble. That's not asking somebody to humble yourself and ask somebody. Be assertive. Act like you want it. Act like you deserve it. Act like you entitled to knowing how to do something so you can be better in your life. Be entitled to that, not entitled to somebody to do the shit for you. You know? But yeah, y'all, we're going to go ahead and jump into tonight's flavor bombs real quick before we get into our fifth and final question.
Flavor bombs presented to you by DBCHEFTV.
Yep, so we got the Epstein file saga continues. Recently, they have just released like I think 300 billion new files or something crazy. 300 billion new Epstein files have just came out. Who knows how many Epstein files? But there's some names in there. I seen some stuff online floating around where everybody trying to out everybody and put everybody on blast and stuff like that. But we got a really good clip that's gonna let you know why I think all of that's cap, and why yeah, we entertaining it right now, but I mean, I guess it's entertainment for everybody. So we're gonna touch on it how we want to touch on it. No Epstein. You know. So then also after this, the Epstein saga drama, we're gonna head up to Minneapolis, to the biggest place right now where ICE is
Icing.
right, being cold, colder than the polar bear's toenail on them. And
yeah,
it seems like it's no end to Operation Metro Surge. And yeah, y'all let us know what y'all think about it. Couple little quick videos, then we're gonna get back to tonight's word.
Tonight, the DOJ's latest batch of Epstein files revealing new connections between the late convicted sex offender and other powerful men, with another data set posted overnight. One of the documents appears to be a 32-count draft indictment prepared against Epstein before the non-prosecution agreement he reached in 2007. It reveals the government was looking to charge 3 co-conspirators alongside Epstein, with a conspiracy to procure women under the age of 18 between 2001 and 2005. Their names are redacted, but they are described as assistants who helped schedule appointments, make calls, pay victims, and more. Some new images also appear to show Britain's former Prince Andrew kneeling over an unidentified female. There are no details provided about the circumstances or timing of the photos, and there's no indication of wrongdoing in these images. He has denied prior accusations of sexual abuse by one of Epstein's victims and has never been criminally charged. The DOJ also posted, then temporarily removed without explanation, a spreadsheet of complaints made to the FBI, including unverified allegations about both President Trump and former President Bill Clinton. Per the document, the FBI determined some of those claims were found to be not credible. Trump and Clinton have denied any wrongdoing, and they have not been accused by authorities. The DOJ says the files contain untrue and sensationalist claims against President Trump that are unfounded and false.
We did not protect President Trump. We didn't protect or not protect anybody.
A group of Epstein survivors criticized the DOJ for heavily redacting some of the files, saying in a statement, "This is not over. We will not."
Pause real quick. That was some slick shit he just said right there, though, real quick. He said we didn't protect or not protect anybody. I don't know if anybody caught that. That's confusing. What you mean you did not protect anybody? What you mean by that, man? What does that
Did
mean?
you or did you not?
Did you or did you not? Did you not protect anybody or did you not protect anybody? What'd you do?
And did you not protect them on purpose? Or yeah.
What happened, man? Like, we
And
didn't.
when are you talking about exactly? Like, what
We didn't protect, and then we did not protect. Man.
Yeah.
See that this is why they can't be trusted. This is why you can't.
Not stop until the truth is fully revealed and every perpetrator is finally held accountable.
Jose, some of the Epstein documents are heavily redacted. President Trump's Justice Department said the White House had no oversight of the review of these new files. At least 2 congressmen have already requested to see unredacted documents. And remember, the Deputy Attorney General said they're not releasing millions of pages of additional files, including some involving internal deliberations about the case.
Yo, God, you wasn't even being funny about the millions of pages. Like they got millions of pages.
millions of pages.
I thought you were just being figurative, you know what I'm saying? You're an MC.
I was trying to be, but I see that it's really real in the Epstein field because because it wasn't a list.
It's some millions of files, though.
It's billions of files, right?
Damn. That's crazy.
And he just said we didn't protect or not protect anyone. So I don't know what that means. I don't know.
Man, that whole thing was confusing, guys. Because I got my first question is, so are the 3 people that they going after or that they were going after, are they the only perpetrators that they're looking for? Or does the prince also count as a perpetrator, even though they said this image doesn't show him doing anything wrong per se? He just happened to be there looking crazy, right? Because
he's no longer the prince. Okay, he's just don't put no respect on his name.
Oh, that's right. He was the one that got kicked out, right?
Yeah, he's just William.
I remember that we did a show on him. He got kicked out.
Yeah, he got kicked out the whip.
He got kicked out for this.
for those pictures right there. Yeah, his brother knows something that we don't. Prince Charles, King Charles,
that's right.
King Charles knows something that we don't know, man. He know his little brother.
He confessed to his brother.
He know his little brother.
Oh man, that's right. I forgot about that.
He got kicked out the whip, so.
Yeah, kicked out the whip.
Yeah, he's no longer royalty. They
that's why he's living in a mother-in-law suite, right? Like,
no, he got a whole mansion. He got the summer house. He got the summer cottage on on like 50 acres or something like that. He got the summer estate. That's how I think he got the spring estate. Yeah, he go to the estate, and have your 40 acres and your mule, and you
only get half the service. You don't get the whole full staff.
Keep your wild parties there. Can you do that? Which is crazy. But like you said, the 3 people, I know Ghislaine Maxwell, who's now in the federal camp, she went from the real jail to, feels like jail. Not quite though.
Yeah.
Feels like prison. Not quite though. But, with a little.
It's prison in name.
Yeah, it's a prison name, but, it has that campish feel, So that's where she at. I'm guessing that's one of the 3. Don't know who the other 2 are. That would take some investigative journalism.
But that's fair to say, though, that we're only looking for another 2 people versus millions of people.
There's no way they looking for them. They got them. Whoever they are, they know who they are because they already got the 2 main people. So you telling me the other 2 people they don't have the assistants? Of course they got them. You think Ghislaine ain't get them up? That's why she only doing the dub.
Yeah.
if they didn't already know who they were, because everybody knew who they was.
So that means if they just talk about assistants, then that means all the celebrity stuff kind of don't even matter, because they wasn't even going after those people for nothing. Like they was only going after the 3 people that was, making phone calls and paying people and doing that. That's how I read that article, or that flavor bomb.
I interpret it the same way, right? Like we didn't protect anybody and we didn't know. Innocent until proven guilty. We don't have enough evidence to move forward with the indictment. So, we got Epstein plus 3, and that is who the burden of all of this foolery will fall upon. So we don't know about the what type of justice has been happening in relation to the other 2 people, but we know that the punishment of Ghislaine Maxwell is prison camp, and we know Jeffrey Epstein is no longer with us, whatever the theories are to that. So if we hear about the other 2, like I'm not gonna go look for it. But
I don't know. No, I was just saying that because I saw the pictures with Chris Tucker. I saw a bunch of celebrities
it's a lot of names that's dropping.
It's a lot of names that's dropping, and are those names kind of like the Diddy parties? People that just went to the club and had a party, but wasn't a part of none of the actual wild shenanigans, right? Because I was expecting.
God, I don't know if that's a good example though.
So now I ain't watched 50's movie, so I don't know.
I ain't even talking about in relation to 50. I'm just talking about in relation to like nobody stayed. Like people had to stay. It's human nature for you to want to. If you ain't there participating, you looking. Even Cat Williams said he went and he was looking in a room and was like, "Oh, what in the world?" So that means you was there. Just because you didn't partake, that's different. But a lot of people are just, want to distance themselves with saying, "I never even went," or "I left early." Right?
Left early. But left before the devil showed up.
Right. So that's why I could respect Cat Williams is even in his comedy, right? Whether it's make believe or whether he telling a reaccount from a real event. He places himself there, but he also places himself not participating, or he's not sharing what he chose to participate in. Like I think a lot of people that went to these things, chose to participate in whatever they wanted to participate in. But now that it looks so bad, and it's a scandal, and it's and it's all this stuff. Like you won't be like, man, I wasn't over there. I ain't even like dude for real, and I just went for the photo op real quick. Tried the caviar pancakes and the buffet, and then I left. So
call that networking.
Yeah, I just need to go network, but I had somewhere else to go. So there probably were a lot of people who do fit into that category, and then there probably are a lot of people who just like, on the cameras, on videotapes that we don't know about, that
voyeurs.
The voyeurs. Yeah, voyeurist. So, I don't know. One of the big things is like, I don't know why like people private life, even as a celebrity, have to be so, it's like, it's like, damn, once you do a couple of movies, now, everything you do with your private parts, everybody gotta know about it. I mean, we're not talking about breaking the law, dealing, on some
talking about your regular personal life, that when you're not acting or singing or dancing or whatever,
like if you having orgies and and they however freaky that you want to have it, like, and ain't nobody getting you know, kicked in the head and drugged down the hallway and stuff like that. I'm like, then really, what's the problem? That's what they into. That's what they do. And they not, you know, they not hurting nobody. Like they not, you know, at that point engaging in all that stuff, you know. So that's why I'm just like, I don't get that part of the Hollywood dynamic. But let's head on up to Minnesota.
A federal judge denied a request for a temporary restraining order to stop Operation Metro Surge. Our Joe McCoy has more on that ruling.
In a blow to those hoping for an end to Operation Metro Surge, a federal judge ruling the Trump administration's immigration enforcement crackdown can continue in Minnesota. Earlier this month, Minnesota and the Twin Cities sued federal officials, calling Operation Metro Surge a federal invasion that violated the Constitution. This operation began in December and brought 3,000 federal agents to Minnesota for immigration enforcement. In her ruling, U.S. District Judge Catherine Menendez said that the plaintiffs made a strong showing that the enforcement surge has had a profound and even heartbreaking impact on the state. Judge Menendez also said that there is evidence that ICE and Border Patrol agents have engaged in racial profiling, excessive use of force, and other harmful actions. However, she wrote that an injunction to Operation Metro Surge would cause, quote, irreparable harm to the government because it would hamper their efforts to enforce federal law. To be clear, this ruling is only denying the preliminary injunction and is not making a final determination on the lawsuit brought forward by Minnesota and the Twin Cities. In a statement, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey said he is disappointed in the ruling, but that the city will continue to pursue the lawsuit. He went on to say, quote, this operation has not brought public safety. It's brought the opposite and has detracted from the order we need for a working city. It's an invasion and it needs to stop. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison said, quote, we will continue to protect Minnesotans and raise the critical legal and constitutional issues at stake, and we will continue to be unrelenting in doing so.
What do you think, God?
I think that's apropos to what we talk about tonight, because if the judge follows the legal process and says that what they're doing is allowed, I think the protests got to stop and stuff like that. I think that and to say that we're going to continue, I think that's dangerous, because that means that you're actively going against the law, right? And
it ain't gonna be no justice for you,
right? Like it ain't like I don't see, if the law is actively against you and you're not, and you are actively trying to change the law, but if in your activity you're hitting roadblocks, I kind of feel like your actions have to cease. Otherwise, there's no point in going the legal route and trying to change things. If you're just going to be a rebel without a cause, then just go crash out. But if you actually trying to systematically affect change, then you can't be a crash dummy, right? Like you have to acknowledge and accept this process, and unfortunately, right, like we have to get to a point where we actually start holding people accountable, like Dr. Mo is saying, with those petitions, with those signatures, because people do sign with the intent to say, I'm standing for this. But what's the judge say? I hear you talking, but this is how I feel about it, right? And as long as appellate courts are not there to appeal your feelings on the ruling, but only to appeal a bad process in the ruling, then I don't really see how they're gonna get justice at all. That's
Not the protesters.
like I don't see how any I don't see how any I don't see how any of that comes. I don't see any positivity in that process at all, because like I'm pro the lawsuit, but is the lawsuit, that's his money though, right? Like that's not changing law necessarily.
Well, I think that their ultimate goal is to get ICE to cease and desist with this raid thing, with the raids that they're doing, with their active campaign. This what is it called? It's called the I just said the name. But
yeah, Metro Surge.
Operation Metro Surge. They want them to just, in Operation Metro Surge. And then that right there, if they end the Operation Metro Surge, then the people won't have no reason to be out there protesting. That's how they're looking at it. Okay. So it is one thing led to the other, and then another thing led to the other, and another thing led to the other. But like you just said, though, God.
Damn. What's the judge do?
Because legally, it's the federal government against the state government.
Yeah.
So all of that is they're going to, the federal government is always going to try to appeal it all the way up to the highest court that they can, because it's going to take the longest amount of time to adjudicate it. It just, okay, boom, boom, boom. And then they got to review this, and then they got to review. So it's just buying more time,
All right.
So that is a process. Like we was talking about, that process to justice.
Yeah.
It is a process. So work has to be done. Meantime, in between time, like you just said, God, the people going out there protesting, it may look to everybody like, yeah, they doing a good thing. To all the people that don't want to go out there and protest, but feel like it's a good thing, but don't want to go out there with them. I think a lot of people feel like it's a good thing, don't want to go out there with them because they know it's not the right thing. And knowing that if you go out there, then you're subjecting yourself to possibly getting killed because you see what's going on.
They killing you in broad daylight, and now they got the law 100% backing them, saying that they can do it.
Saying that like you're wrong for being out here protesting.
Saying you're wrong for being out there protesting.
Okay. So I ain't upset with that. I comprehend. I comprehend. I ain't want to. Well, I got a First Amendment right. Well, you know what? We saw, rest in peace to Alex Pretty. We saw him go out there with his First Amendment right, okay, and have an interaction the first time, and he was able to walk away and go home. And then he went out there again the second time, and it didn't work out like that, unfortunately. So the choice,
for real, it was a two-time thing.
Yeah. It doesn't take away from the fact that he still was unarmed when he got shot. However, you don't know how people going to react though. Like, the first day the guys didn't overreact like that. The second time he encountered them, that was what happened. So it's like, is there some accountability for putting yourself in those positions? And I think that's what a lot of people are forgetting. Like, give yourself justice.
Justice.
Like don't allow yourself to be in them situations. Like, it's that simple. But people like to press their luck though. I don't know what this whole, and I'm not saying Alex Pretty tried to press his luck, but to me, it's like, damn, like, how not? How can you not look at that? Not even knowing negative, not even being negative. It's just like, damn, bro, like, I get you got the cause or whatever. You know, even Don Lemon running up in the church. Like, why you disturbing them people while they at Sunday service? Like, regardless of, like, yeah, he got locked up for that, but he out now or whatever. But, you know, but it's like, why you running up in the church bothering people? You know, like, if you got a problem with that man, catch that man outside on his job. Catch him at that ice thing, you know. But Don Lemon's smart enough to know if I catch him out there with that thing on him,
he might thing that thing.
He might thing on you. You see?
Yeah.
So I'm a cowardly run up in this church and disturb people trying to get their worship on, you know, or any place of worship. You know, so like that's why I'm just like, people gotta realize, family, like that video was significant because what you said, God, was exactly the truth. The law is not on your side. And they just told you that. Now, if you don't see that, then everything that you allow yourself and put yourself into, you deserve.
Yo, you know why that's significant and why deserve is profound, at least to Ali, right? Because if we're gonna compare the example that everybody is using, the impetus for all this surge, right, is they're using the civil rights movement as this is how we do it, right? And while it was to bring awareness, it did move the needle legally and politically, right? So that's what people, I think, are hoping for. The stark difference, though, right, is our elders and ancestors, God, they went through training in order to peacefully protest. They went through hard, painstaking training to discipline themselves to be the demonstration, right? So when they got harmed and they lost their life, they didn't want to die. Nobody's happy to die, but they were willing to die for their cause and for their people, and they wasn't crying about that shit, talking about this cracker not fair. They was out there because they knew that motherfucker wasn't fair in the first place, and it was worth it to them to put their life on the line, right? So when I see these people utilize our talking points, our tools, our resources, our experiences, and say they trying to say they black like me, it bothers me, right? Because my man, if he went out there and had a firearm on him in the first place at a protest, what you doing with that? Like everybody got guns on the other side. Like you can't even talk to the police without notifying the police that you are armed in the first place, right? Like when the cops come up to your vehicle and you got the law, yeah, we got the Fernando Castillo, you know, rest in power to the God, but the way it's supposed to work, right? When you get pulled over, you have an interaction with law enforcement. The first thing you're supposed to do is let this person know that you are armed, right? You're supposed to give them your concealed weapons permit, you know, for people that still do that, right? Unless you fall for the okie doke saying, oh, we don't need to carry that no more, because they said so, right? They say a lot of things, and I don't know. I just don't like it. Like I don't like people talking that's not willing. That's not willing to support their interest and live. They think that living is only looking and breathing and not dying as well.
Yeah,
right.
Death is
A part of death is a part. You know,
welcome to 2026. You know, where it's all types of acts. Ain't nobody willing to die about it. Nobody's
Ain't
willing
no,
to die about it.
ain't,
Nobody's willing to die about it.
stay in the house.
Nobody's willing to die about it.
Yo, man, if you're not willing to die about it, stay in the house.
Yeah. You know,
Because you might die.
I be chilling. I be at the crib. that's I be chilling. I be at the crib for real. But I'm not one of these people out here complaining about what they doing and what they doing and this, because I have found out today that my meaning of justice that was just self-applied, you know, has some duality in it, understanding the rule of law and what justice is, and then being intelligent enough to know what I just watched in that flavor bomb,
Man,
that I'm not exempt from that. Okay. And clearly, like Dr. Lamb said right here, white folk not exempt either, because Renee Good was white and so was Alex Pretty. You know, rest in peace to both of them. Condolences to their family. You know? So that's why I thought it was kind of funny, though, with the Black Panther, Black Lion thing. It was like, that's like white on white violence, dog. Like, why you
like that? Like now you turned up. Oh no, they don't went too far now.
You know, like, I don't want to make it racial, but I mean, it's kind of obvious that, you know.
Yo, let me defend the guy one time, not for nothing though, right? if you are gonna get scared, it would be when white folks start killing each other in broad daylight, right? Like if you didn't, what? I'm just saying, if you a scary motherfucker, I'm just saying.
Like scared, like that just, I don't see that. Like we all gonna someday, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, period.
Yeah, so it's just like
that's just a part of life. Like there's no way around that shit. Like there's just no way around it. It's just a part of life.
You know, so it's like if he's not, you know, one thing I could say about the Alex Pretty guy was it seemed like he was standing up, you know, he was willing to go out there and be vocal on the front lines about something that he felt compassionate about, you know. So I look at that as an example and something positive to be like, man, he really, give him some credit, because he wasn't scared to go out there and go and get on the front lines. But I also have to say he was ignorant. You know, he was foolish to not know the law, that part, you know, and to go out there with a weapon, with a situation that has already exemplified that it's kind of lawless, you know, like that the law is in their favor. Let me not say it's lawless. The law is in their favor.
So if you got in my mind, if you got a gun, you're going out there to bust it because it's already lawless out there already, right? And if you protesting and you're anti the law and it's lawless and you strapped, I'm saying if you're not busting it, I don't understand.
What why you just crash, right? I don't think
like so. The white lady that got killed in her car, she wasn't protesting, right? Like she was trying to make a U-turn or some shit like that, or something like that, right?
You know what, God, I can't tell you, because you know she gone. Rest in peace to her. And it's just like, you know, I only pay attention to this ICE stuff when like it's time for us to, you know, get a little conversation, a topic to talk about with these flavor bombs and the other shows and stuff like that. Like I don't keep up with it because we got more important stuff in life to do, like that. And when I say that, that's not taking away, not being insensitive to the people who have lost their lives. Like we said, rest in peace, Alex Pretty and Renee Good. But you know, it's like that other story that they said, it was the black family who was there and they got tear gas. You know, that kind of touched the nerve too for a second. But then once you read into the whole story, like they was out there protesting and they took their kids and their kids was there and in the car waiting on them while, you know, they stand on the front lines and contribute whatever they had to do. but you're there. So when you're there, when you go to the smoke, you
You
can't.
looking for smoke.
Yeah,
Like,
like,
come on, you can't get mad when you start coughing. Like, come on, son. Like, you surrounded by smoke.
so I'm just like,
And you went there.
it's too much. It's too
That's what
much.
I'm saying. Our ancestors and elders, God, like they took training. Like they wasn't even allowed to protest unless they went through training. Like they had standards that they set upon themselves. It's like, man, get out of here because you ain't go through training because you're not gonna act right the way that we need you to act so that we can get our message across. You might crash out, and we don't need that right now.
Right, because it was a goal.
It was a
and
whole goal.
and the significance of going through a training camp, right, is so everybody can become familiar with the goal. It's no different than going to become a nurse and you learn how to do the nursing stuff and everything, and then you go and you work and you do your clinicals. Everybody got to do clinicals, and I don't care if you just a CNA to a RN to a DNP, right? So you got to do your stuff that you got to do. DNP, they probably just got to do paperwork, but everybody else has to do clinicals. You go to boot camp, military, you got to go so everybody can get on the same page of what needs to be done so you can accomplish
Foundation.
the goal, right? That's that foundation. That's getting that justice first. Where you say like it's just us, okay, but this is just us and what we need to do to reach our goal, okay? So people like us, it's just us here,
It's just us here. It's
it's
just us
just
that went to this boot camp. It's just us that went to this thing. It's just us that follow these rules. It's just us. It's just us.
right,
Ooh, yeah.
so that's what it would be if it was intentional, but everybody trying to wing this shit and just do it willy-nilly, and that's what we seen. Like, you got to know what you're getting into before you get into it. As much information as possible. You can't know everything about everything all the time, but the more that you invest your time into it and your research, you'll become more affluent of things. That's just how it works. Like, practice make perfect. You got to study. So even if you got bad habits, you got to stop. And the longer that you stop, the more you'll become even routine in that. Now you get better at that, to where that desire it's not even a desire anymore. So all of these things take that process work. But let us know what y'all think in the comment section below about you know what's going on with these protests, how the right now federal court, state court saying, hey, let them go. We don't want to make the law look crazy. We don't want to make the rule of law look crazy to everybody else. So we're gonna let them rock out right now. We're gonna drag it out in appellate court, in appeals court. Who knows how long that's gonna take? All right. And then also we got these Epstein files, and there's a whole lot of names of people coming up, but they also just said we didn't protect anybody or not protect anybody. So I don't know, y'all. That's confused the heck out of me, but maybe y'all could tell us what that means or something. Let us know in the comment section if you understood that better, because I don't know. I'll be trying to learn words, but that just so
You've just been flavor bombed, and now back to our show.
So yeah, y'all, make sure to smash that like button. We are smoking on the word justice tonight, and we have been going over our questions. We're gonna go ahead and get into our fifth and final, last but never least question: is the word justice bad, good, or misunderstood? The God Ali Dawood El at BK Soul Farm.
Totally misunderstood. And it's misunderstood from the dictionary definition. I almost feel like we need a whole nother word, because we apply in our hopes, the conformity to principles and ideals, conformity to truths, facts, and reasons, being correct, and righteousness. The principle of fair treatment and right actions. Like we have hope that those things will be played out legally in the process of law, and that's an unrealistic hope, because those things aren't even mentioned in the process of law, right? Facts aren't even a thing in law. Evidence is, right? Evidence can outweigh facts any and every single day, which takes away your correctness, which takes away your righteousness. And now whoever argues better is right, I guess. So that's
That's how they try that. Whoever's the loudest is the right. It's the most immature, foolish thing I've ever heard of.
All right. So it's like I said, just from the definition alone, it's confusing. And then, just in our conversation, just being a melting pot that we are here in America, with so many different ethnicities coming with so many different purposes for themselves and for the benefits of this country, right? Because I think with the whole visa and all that stuff, like they gotta prove to be some benefit, or there's some kind of gain to America in my mind, at least. I don't know. I just think that it's too many ideas and too many mixed thought processes for us to have a good understanding of what justice is, and it's just applied too loosely, right? So yeah, for me, it's I do like the word for how we use it, right? But I don't like it at all in reference to the law. I feel like it needs more words or more concrete standardization or something, right? Like the fact that a judge, any judge, every judge can interpret a thing for themselves is crazy to me. So I'm gonna say it's misunderstood.
Okay. I could rock with that. It's misunderstood. The interpretations are all over the place. Yeah, I think we are both agreeing that that is definitely misunderstood. The duality of justice, the one application to the court systems, and then the other application to the social system. What do we pick? How do you pick? How do you pick? How do you apply this? Or do you just take it as face value and say it applies this way in this place, and then it applies this way in this place? Now I think that we have rules, codes, they call them codes, penal codes, that are already implemented in the law space, in the rule of law space. But we don't have any people codes that we apply in the social space. So therefore it's misunderstood. Yeah, it's misunderstood because I can't even get to a bad or good on it, because it's just, with it being Black History Month and you're looking at like justice for who?
For who?
Like you have to be real, though. You have to.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
It's made a lot of progress. That's true. But you know what I'm saying. But it's still.
It's true in fairness, right?
It's true in fairness, But when we look at the things that have been hindrances that were permanent until that lasted for so long, you know, what about those things? Those things get no justice. Those things get no reciprocity. You know, they just get overlooked. Like, why are you worried about that? That was old. That wasn't you. That was just your great grandmama or your great granddaddy or somebody like that. They still did. It had nothing to do with you at all. You was still, your daddy might not even been swimming. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when you look at it like that, it's crazy. It's crazy. But justice definitely misunderstood. Says the Cigarden Panel. Thank everybody for sticking around tonight. We hope y'all guys have been enjoying yourself. Going over our questions real quick, y'all. We've been smoking on the word justice tonight. We had, what do you think of when you hear the word justice? Is justice about punishment, accountability, healing, or all three? Do protests, movements, and activism actually lead to justice or just awareness? Is justice something that actually exists, or is it more of an individual ideal that we imagine? And is the word justice bad, good, or misunderstood? Y'all know what to do. Let us know in the comment section below. And we always respond to each and every comment that we have. We want to thank everybody for pulling up tonight. Show some love. We're going to show some love to Dr. Mo. Dr. Mo pulled up. Peace to Dr. Mo. One hundo. And
peace.
And who else we had in here? Yeah, we had Duck. We had Ducks Y. Ducky. Shout out to you. You know what I'm saying, for pulling up too. Like we said, you know, we engage you more if you engaging in the conversation. You know, we not really going. We do enough going off topic and jumping back on. so
by ourselves.
Yeah, so like in the chat, we not gonna really be jumping off topic. Like unless you just make a really great point, you know, that is related to the topic, then we gonna entertain. You know, so in all fairness,
the topic though.
Yeah, like in all fairness, we still appreciate you pulling up and everything. Y'all, before we go, make sure y'all head on over to www.bksoulfarm.com and check out 1016 160 Self-Sustainability by the God, Ali Dawood. Right there, y'all looking at him. Brilliant piece of literature. Go get that. You need that, you know, especially with these times we in, because from what I know, money printer go burr. Okay. So that means inflation go you think that is you know, that stuff is expensive now. You ain't seen nothing yet. All right. And what you haven't seen is your opportunity to go ahead over there to post your merch, your DBCHEFTV merch, and win this $1,000 cash, y'all. So you gotta be 18 to participate. Is with parental consent, and you must be subscribed to the channel. All of the information and rules and everything are on Facebook, IG, and Twitter at DBCHEFTV. And we wish everybody good luck. Contest ends on March 10th. We'd love if y'all can go participate and support. And like we always say, if money's tight, it's all right. We still love you. Just smash the like, you know. We want everybody to have a peaceful, positive, and productive start to your week. If it's snowing, where you at? Be careful out there. I know where I'm at, people got to get up and go to work tomorrow. Babies got to get to school and stuff like that. So y'all be careful out there. Be mindful of each other, you know, because everybody want to make it back home. And we trying to get some justice. That's how we going to get to justice, right? So until next time, Chef Earl Pearl at DBCHEFTV, always with the God, Ali Dawood at BK Soul Farm. We are the Cigarden Panel. Until next time, Sunday, 8 p.m. East Coast, right here, Cigar Sundays live. Peace, God.
Peace, God. This whole publication is all about going from nowhere to somewhere, right? Being able to stand on something so that you can travel in peace, right? So bksoulfarm.com, 1016 160 self-sustainability. Jump on the list and get yourself together, right? Because it is irresponsible to not even know what responsibility means. So get yourself together, food, clothing, and shelter, protection of that, support your interests, and live.
Post your DB Chef TV merch to your social media and enter to win $1,000 cash. That's right, $1,000 cash. Must be 18 years old or with parental consent. See contest rules for full details. Visit the DB Chef TV gift shop and post your merch to win.
Love ain't always easy, and we won't stop until we get it right. So bring that ass to the Love Speak podcast. Subscribe today and let your love speak at TLS Podcast. The Love Speak, now streaming on YouTube.
If it's Friday night and you don't have a date, then brunch with the fellas is your spot, so don't be late. We go up at 9 p.m. with the trending topic news. Smash the like, comment, subscribe, and share the content. Don't be rude at Brunch Fellas, now streaming on YouTube.
Exchange insights Sundays at 8 p.m. East Coast time with the Cigarden Panel. Smoking on words like two big nerds. Hosted by DBCHEFTV and BK Soul Farm at Cigar Sundays on YouTube. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so when they go live, you never miss an episode of Cigar Sundays Live.
You are the key to your financial freedom. So unlock your inner wealth with financial fundamentals at Bows on the Table. Subscribe today and never miss a meal at Bows Podcast. Bows on the Table, now streaming on YouTube.
At the Veteran Kettle Podcast, we thank you for your service, support, and sacrifice to our country. Listen to real stories of adversity and triumph as we give our best to honor our vets. Subscribe today and watch episodes now streaming on YouTube at TVK Podcast, The Veteran Kettle.
Sign up for the newsletter and shop merch and clothing at DBCHEFTV.com.